Straight shooter, straight through it, nigga. Dead squad up, nigga. Official. Free mode. Juju just served 12 flat on the murder case. Got her 8 months later, caught another murder case. Clap City niggas, clap Sydney, spur the murder rate. And I just did 7 straight on attempted murder, man. Rally Rail got 16 for the same thing. Squad and official, nigga.
Okay. What's up? What's up? What's poppin'? You already know what it is, man. It's Nate Dogg 916 coming at you live from Sacramento, man. Hey, you know what it is. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to keep getting this fire content, man. And if it's something you want to know about, something you want to talk, an opinion you got, put it in the comments below, man. And if you know anybody whose story you think might help the next man move forward and take a better step in their life, man, hit me on the Instagram at nate.dog916 or sandman2788, and we'll definitely get back at you. And please, please, please take care of your family during this epidemic that we got going on, man. Don't take it as a joke. You never know what might happen, man. Either way, let's struggle and strive and stay loyal. But today we got a banger for you, man. And so without further ado, man, what they call you, where you from, man?
Okay, my name is Kayla. I'm from up above Cali. I'm from Tacoma, Washington.
Okay, still that West Coast flavor. Okay, so I mean, let's get into it, man. What was your childhood like up there in Tacoma, Washington for Ms.Kayla Lewis, man?
Well, okay, so my childhood, I think I was lucky to have the childhood I had. I had a mom and a dad, and we lived in a decent neighborhood. And my mom is a teacher. My dad was in the Marine Corps.
Wow. Thank you for service.
Semper Fi, hoorah for all
hoorah.
the Marine Corps out there.
Yeah.
But he, so it was pretty normal though, for the most part, until I started noticing some things that were different about me than my mom and dad.
Okay.
My skin's darker, my hair's different. My mom, she's got red hair, like blue eyes. My dad, he's just a, typical white boy. So I was a little confused. And, I was, I think about 7 or 8 at that time. And, I found out my dad was not my real dad, so, it was devastating because my dad, I'm a daddy's girl for real.
Absolutely.
For real. So it was devastating, but it wasn't, they kind of put it into perspective for me, he's your dad because he chooses to be your dad, so I looked at it a lot differently, but I was still searching for where do I come from though,
Absolutely.
And it didn't help that I was in an all white neighborhood, and I didn't have anybody who looked like me, so that was a little challenging. And I remember I used to ask my mom all the time, can you guys just tell me what his name is, his first name, and a picture? That's all I want.
Right.
But it was just too complicated at that time for me to understand. And so they kept saying no. And you have a dad, and
Oh, this is when you were 8 years old.
Yeah, this is when I was young.
Okay. And
I kept doing it year after year. And I remember I got to be at that age where you start, making decisions and choices and
right.
And I was like, you know what? If they aren't gonna tell me, I'm gonna make their life hell.
Ooh,
so
okay.
and I took that path.
Right.
It was a very distinct decision in my head. If they're not gonna tell me, I'm gonna, force them to tell me.
Right.
And that's when I started drinking and, smoking weed and, stealing their car and doing all kind of stuff.
Okay. So people understand and don't miss the transition. So you're telling me that from finding out that you had a different sperm donor and or father than your dad, it made you decide to say that was your transition from your household, from your home life, which was nice and gravy, to the activities outside the home or the activities in the home that you shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
Because you were more of a, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was a good kid for the
Right.
most part at that time. You know, I played soccer. I was really good at soccer.
Okay.
And my mom, like I said, she's a teacher. So school was really important, you know. And so I was always doing good in school and, you know, not making too much noise, basically. But
Right.
once, you know, I started,
Once you started to wanting to show them, like, y'all gonna tell me or I'm gonna turn this whole motherfucker upside down.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn this place down.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I understand that. So, and that's a big thing. So you say you started getting into drinking and acting up and, you know, what
drinking and smoking weed. And I remember the first time I drank, you know, I should have known. I mean, now I'm an adult, so I know. Maybe, you know, that's clear that, anyways, it was a friend and I, we decided we were going to drink my parents' vodka that was above the fridge. And we took a shot, and my friend passed right out. And I stayed up and kept drinking by myself. Oh yeah, I'll drink for her, you know. And then, you know, typical kid shit, I just filled the vodka with water. So,
right.
You know, and that was really, though, my start, you know. And I had a couple of friends whose parents were more lenient than my parents, so I would always go over there and stay the night at their house, and, you know, we would sneak out. But, you know, the main thing I was doing in the beginning, the main thing other than drinking and smoking weed was I was stealing my parents' car, which was not a good idea.
Okay.
Because I was only 13. I didn't really know how to drive, you know. And, you know, I stole my parents' car for years. And eventually, you know, I got caught twice.
Wait, you were stealing the car for years and they didn't even know you were stealing the car?
They didn't know. I'll tell you a quick story, too.
Okay.
They'll kill me. They're going to be mad when they see this. I was stealing the car, right? And they had bought a new car. They had only had it for like 6 months. It was a Suzu Rodeo, right?
Uh-huh.
So I
remember those.
The car. Yeah, I was still in the car, and I didn't really know how the ins and outs of cars. So I had stole the car and went to a boy's house, and we fell asleep. And my dad used to wake up at like 5:30 for work, right? So we fell asleep. I woke up at like 4:45. So I'm like, oh, he's about to wake up. I need to get home. So I run out there, get in the car, and I'm flying down the road, and I miss my turn. And instead of, I'm going like 30 or 40 miles an hour, and I just throw it into reverse instead of braking.
Oh.
Yeah. So the car like boom, boom, and just died. And I was like, what happened? Like, I was like, maybe I should have slowed down. I didn't even get it, though, that I had to brake to put it in reverse.
Right.
So I sat there for a second, and I was like, I'm about to die. Like, this is even before, I didn't have a cell phone or nothing like that. I was just like, my life is over.
Right.
And I sat there for a second and started it up, and it drove home. Drove all the way home. And then when my dad went out there to leave for work, the car wouldn't start. And I was in bed already. I made it home. So they didn't catch me that time. But that car they ended up getting rid of that car a couple months later because it was having all these problems from it. They didn't know what was wrong.
Right. All these problems that you were doing to the car when they were asleep.
When they would sleep. Yeah, doing all kinds of stuff. Driving in snow, like just doing the most, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and I ended up getting caught, though, by the police because, see, I sound fast saying all this, but I was at another boy's house.
Right.
Yeah. I was at a different boy's house.
Hey, our history is what makes us who we are, man.
For real. And I know I wasn't the only little girl out there.
Man, nah, because I was.
No.
Yeah.
I went to another boy's house and I parked on the street, and I didn't realize that you got to park in the way of traffic.
Right.
So I parked on the wrong side in front of their house, and I had snuck into his window, and within like 30 minutes.
Wait a minute.
Flashlight.
We supposed to do the sneaking in the windows.
For real. I know. He was an older boy too. He was playing me. He was playing.
Okay. So you get into the window.
Yeah, I went to the window, snuck in. I was only in there for like 30 minutes. And then there was flashlights at the window.
Oh.
And it was the police. The police. Because the neighbor saw somebody park and sneak into their backyard.
Oh, and called the police.
And called the police.
Oh,
and
sheesh.
thought I was breaking in. Because I wasn't the smartest. And this boy, his parent was a teacher at the high school. So
the same boy that was there.
The same boy, yeah. He was a boy, yeah. So that's the first time I got caught for stealing their car.
Oh, okay. So they got you out the house and took you home.
Yeah, they got me out. No, they took me down to the police station.
Oh, shit.
Because I was only 14. I shouldn't have been driving the car anyways.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So not only did you park wrong, they saw you go in the back of a building. So they thought you was breaking into some house. So your mom or pops had to get the conversation that their daughter not only stole their vehicle, but was found in another boy's bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they called my parents. They called my parents and said, are you guys missing a car? Because they just ran the plates, saw I was 14, called and said, are you guys missing a car?
Right.
And my parents were like, no. And they were like, well, we think we have your daughter down here. She said she's your daughter. And they was like, no, she's in bed.
Right.
And
she's right here.
She's right here, yeah. And they was like, no. Is her name Kayla? They were like, yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah. Okay, so we turning up at 14. We stealing cars. We running the streets. I'm not gonna say being fast. It was fast back in our days. We called it fast, but now it's way worse now. So
sure it is.
Man,
but the thing about it that I can say though for my parents is they were very like, I was in trouble. Don't get me wrong. But they were very rational and like understanding. They were not easy on me, but I think back, or I've had a lot of time to grow up, and I've seen other people's experience with their parents, and I feel very fortunate. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
It was what it was. I still had a roof over my head. They still, it wasn't. It got bad. I ended up leaving the house early, but
because I totally understand that part. Because at 14. If I would have stole my mama car, I mean, first of all, I had my own car at 14, but if I didn't and I stole my mama car, my mama would try to put me in the hospital. I ain't gonna lie. But so that's totally understandable. So I mean, that's a blessing. Like you said, that's a blessing that you had the people that loved you enough to try to figure out what the problem was and discipline you in the right way instead of just assaulting you and putting you in a room. Right.
Yeah, and they did. They tried their best, and I give them that. And by the time they figured out that I might need to meet my biological dad, it was almost too late, you know, because I was a little bit too far in the deep end at that point,
Okay, well, now when we talk about the deep end, I'd like to hear the story about if you did and when and if you did meet your biological dad. But let's talk about more you getting into the deep end. What does that entail for you?
So, I started doing, cocaine and at about 14.
Okay.
Which quickly only because of the people I was hanging out with, but turned into crack.
Okay,
right?
So there was an epidemic up there as well as down here.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
At that time, yeah, for sure. And I was hanging out with the older kids, like 19 plus. So, that's where it started, in ecstasy and that normal.
Okay.
Stuff like that. But right after that, I started doing opiates. So
okay, like heroin or just like pills?
I started on. They were the Oxy 80s back then. And,
okay, is that like a strong oxy pill?
Yeah, it's like the Perk 30s, but 80s.
Okay, so just so I could, all my fans already know this about me. You don't like you saying the perk 30 thing. I don't know what none of that stuff mean. Because and I only say that because when I left, we was just selling selling crack, selling coke, and selling meth. I left the streets in 96 or 97 and didn't come back till 2014. So everything that happened in between that, like ecstasy, I know what an ecstasy pill is, but like perk 30, I don't know. That's like, is that a strong perk? I'm assuming Percocet 30 milligrams.
Yeah, it's just Percocet. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
the pill form of heroin, basically.
Oh, okay. The perk is like heroin too?
Yeah, Percocet, Vicodin.
Oh, okay.
All of that is all underneath the opiate family.
Okay.
So where you would see heroin or fentanyl at the top,
Right.
Vicodin and Percocet are going to be in, mid-tier or probably lower tier. But depending on the strength, it can bump it up more and more. So.
Okay. All right.
But
so
I only did the pills
messing with
for
the
a
pills.
very, very short time, and then I moved on to heroin. It was just the thing up here.
Okay, so heroin, that's a big thing. That's a strong drug from what I've heard. I mean, I've never had I've only had one personal experience with that. That's down here, or from my generation, that's not really something Black people deal with. Now they do, but back in my days, they didn't. So did you get addicted, or you were like sampling, or?
Oh no, I was addicted from the beginning. I was addicted when I started. I look at my history of use and see that the minute I opened the floodgates, which the floodgates would have been with alcohol.
Yes.
It was everything I touched, I became addicted to. So
okay.
I was addicted to that crack for a moment, that cocaine for a moment, and then I moved on to the ecstasy. But when I landed on heroin, it was over. That was all I needed. And that's always been my drug of choice. So
now I'm definitely not a drug counselor by any means, but let me ask you a question since we on this subject. Do you think that from the alcohol to the weed to the crack and to the heroin, whatever, was you just didn't give a fuck, or you felt like you needed those things? Or you just, the mentality was, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna just try whatever. I'm liking this. I'm gonna keep doing this shit until I stop liking it.
Yeah, I've always had a very addictive personality.
Okay.
And I just didn't really give a fuck at that point. I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this shit because it feels good.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep trying everything until I find what I love. And I found what I love.
Right. Okay.
All right.
And then how long did that last for? So this is back when you're still a teen, when this started.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did this heroin?
Yeah, it was. I could say I became fully addicted to heroin. I had used it, but I was a daily user from the time I was 17, and that's for sure.
Okay.
So, and that's all the way up until 2 years ago. So,
oh shit. Okay, so that's a little while. So I'm sure that, and usually a lot of people like, okay, what war story is Nate gonna ask about prison or whatever, right? But if you say you used heroin from the time you were a teen till the time you were a mature age, we're not supposed to ask women their ages. So
I'm 30 right now.
Okay, so you're 30 right now. So over 15 years.
Yeah.
Straight. I'm sure something happened out there, or your pursuit of your addiction got you in some kind of bullshit at some point, or you had to do some shit that you're not very proud of, or it just was what it was when it was, that you might want to share with us.
Yeah, I mean, it would be real hard to pick one story.
Well, then maybe
a lot.
Then that's. Oh, by the way, hold on. Before you go into that story, go ahead and shout out your YouTube page, because then they can see a lot more of your stories.
Yeah, my channel's name is STREETLIFE2HOUSEWIFE.
And that's a 2. That's a Street Life. It's a regular spelling with a 2 in the middle and housewife at the end.
Yep.
So you guys know it's not T-O, it's the number 2.
Number 2.
You guys go check her out on YouTube. You can check her out on Instagram at Kayla Lewis. What is it? 89?
89.
Kayla Lewis 89 at Instagram. Check her out. Go support her channel. Sub, like, hit the notification bell. Y'all know what it is. Now, like I said before, if y'all support the kennel, support the people I bring on, like I always say, because I don't bring them on for nothing. So a story, anything, I mean, like you said, it's hard to pick one. Just pick one you haven't posted yet, if possible.
Okay. Did I post this? I don't think I did.
If you did, they'll see it twice. It's good.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did though. Okay, I'm gonna tell you one. So I'm pretty sure I did post this though. Maybe I should say.
It's all right. It's all right.
So I didn't touch on this yet. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 11. So, and when I had her, I had stayed sober during that pregnancy. And so I was really, if I'm being honest, I was excited to get high again because I felt like that 9 months I had stayed sober.
Salute. And, thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I did. And you know what? It's, yeah, I did. And then.
Well, hold on. Let me pause because I don't know if you know how much it means to people that's been around here seeing people who don't care about the children rather in their stomach.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I have 3 kids, right?
Okay.
So that was, and I can't say that about my other 2.
Okay. Well, at least you were strong enough to do it the first time.
Yeah. In the beginning of my addiction, it was a priority, and that's the reality of addiction, though, and how powerful it is. That by the end of my addiction, it was so unmanageable. Right. And I was powerless. It was just impossible. I mean, it wasn't impossible. I was able to do it the first time, but my addiction just took over. But, you know, so I had stayed sober and I wanted to get high. I was anxious, excited to get high again. And, but I also wanted to breastfeed my daughter. So it was like, I had waited another 6 months. So if you can imagine, I was pretty much ready to get high when I got high again. Right. And but at that time, I had a baby's dad who was he was fine. He was great. He was great. He's raised our daughter for the last 10 years. He's wonderful. So but we didn't get along at that time.
Thank you for raising a daughter, but that don't mean everybody's great because they raised a child. But keep it, like I said before, keep it how you want to keep it.
Yeah. So we had a big falling out, you know, and I decided I wanted to leave. And so I waited until the 1st of the month. And then I got in my car and I said, I'm going to drive from Washington to Miami, Florida by myself. And I thought this was a good idea. I thought I was going to go down there and get sober is what I really thought. Right. And, but I wanted to, it was just 3,800 miles by myself. I had like an ounce of dope and it only made it halfway across the country with me. So by the time I got to Florida, it just changed. Everything had changed. Everything had changed in my thoughts and what I wanted to do.
And all you want to do is find some dope.
Right. And then I went down there and, you know, and I made it down there. And then 3 days later, I ended up in Miami-Dade County Jail. Oh. And yeah, but it was a disorderly conduct. You know what I mean? It was something stupid. Right. So I ended up getting out. But it was just like a big, huge mistake. You know what I mean? Nobody knew where I was.
Oh yeah, you went by yourself.
Yeah, I went by myself. You know, I ended up, somebody from back home I met down there, and so I wasn't all the way alone. It was just, a nightmare, basically, a whole nightmare of being down there. And then I had to call my family to get them to help me come back home from Miami.
So as soon as you got out, you tried to get back?
Oh no, I waited like 9 months and let everybody worry about me and not know where I was.
Oh, you was incognito like that? Nobody even knew where you were?
And nobody knew where I was. They was worried.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then I called my mom, like my car's broke down. I'm in Florida. Can you help me get back home?
Wow. So, okay,
So,
wait. So was when you went to the Dade County Jail, was that the first time you've been incarcerated?
no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
no. I had already been to jail at that point. I think only a couple times, you know what I mean,
Right.
for some petty shit back home. But when I came back is when it all really started for me, as far as like just getting in the mix. And I really didn't stop after that for quite a while. It was like a good 5 year, because I've gone to treatment plenty of times. It's just
Oh,
that I've never
okay.
stopped getting high. A lot of times, for me at least, treatment was just a way to get people off my back.
Okay.
People to stop
Get people to shut up.
bothering me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could have a good 6 months of
Quiet.
time while they think I'm cool. And
Oh, so while you were in the treatment, you were still getting down.
a couple different times, yeah. I mean, I would,
Okay.
if I went to treatment, I
Right.
would usually, and I can't say that, looking back,
Mm-hmm.
there was like a small part of me that really wanted to get my life together, but that never was really the reality.
Was it
So I would
because
go to treatment.
the addiction?
Yeah.
Okay, so the addiction was you wanted to get right, but the addiction was stronger than your want to get right.
Yeah, the addiction has always been stronger
Right.
than anything, and that's
Okay.
the scary thing about addiction is that, not knowing, I wish, getting an education as a kid was so important to me and to my mom. But there was a huge gap in
Mm-hmm.
life skills or life experiences that I missed out on. Like, I feel like if I would have known that this is what would have happened, I've always been pretty like logical in some ways.
Right.
But once the addiction or, the use started, it was just like an immediate takeover, that was all that mattered. So, it seemed like a lot of my past has been fueled just
From
mainly
the
for
addiction.
that. Yeah.
Okay. So we got into what the crimes you've committed in your life have been. And obviously, for those who are wondering, no, she has not been to prison. This is just a story of struggle. Like I told you guys, I'm branching out. I'm trying to give you guys more interesting content.